Welcome, curling fans from across Canada. We're here at the 2019 Canada Winter Games from Red Deer, Alberta. We're coming to you from Draw 12 this morning, 9 a.m. draw between PEI and New Brunswick this morning. Joined in the booth by somebody I'm very familiar with, but curling fans across the country might not know as well, but I'm welcome in the booth. My dad, Lowell Peterman. How you doing today, Dad?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. So today we got PEI, who's coming in with a 1-8 record. They're going to take on New Brunswick, who's at 4-5. So an important game for New Brunswick. We're not exactly sure how the playoffs are going to go out, but if they win, we kind of think they have a really good chance of making the playoffs. So a big win for New Brunswick here. They got to stay on top of the standings and kind of stay in that 6th spot, which they're currently sitting in right now. Quick update on the standings before we get going. BC and Ontario are at 8-1. So right now, if both BC and Ontario win their last game here this morning, they will get the bye into the semifinal. Meanwhile, Newfoundland and Alberta are sitting tied at 7-2, so they're in 3rd and 4th spot. Manitoba is alone in 5th spot at 5-4, and then we have a 3-way tie between New Brunswick, Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia, all at 4-5. The top 6 teams here at the Canada Winter Games will make the playoffs, with 3rd playing 6th at 2 p.m., and 4 playing 5 at 2 p.m. So that is both in the men's and the ladies. That's kind of how the quarterfinals kind of work out. You can get eliminated, though. I've been talking to the head official, Brenda Rogers, Dad, and she was telling me that unlike most Canada curling events, you can get eliminated by a last stone draw here. There's no tiebreakers. They didn't account for tiebreakers in their schedule, so you can get eliminated based on your last stone draws throughout the week.
I hope they knew that before the tournament started, so they can concentrate on those last stone draws. They always are important, if not only to get hammered, but more important in this case, I guess.
Absolutely. So, and I was also talking to Heather Nedowin beforehand, and we were talking if this is the best way to do it, if getting eliminated by a last stone draw is fair. And she said, I guess it's more fair than playing a 1:30 in the morning game like they did at the Canadian curling trials for the Olympics. So,
yeah, she's probably right there.
This is probably the better alternative.
Yes.
So, kids playing today. I went down and introduced myself to both the teams. The PEI team's kind of a little bit from everywhere. A little bit from Stratford, a little bit from North Tryon, Cornwall, Kensington. So a little bit from everywhere in that small province. But the boys are a friendly group, and I've kind of got to know them quite well throughout the week. And they're at 1-8 right now, but they really want to finish strong with a win. I think it's always important to kind of finish with a strong note and kind of leave a good taste in your mouth. Good experience for the kids, though, because they're all quite young. A couple 15-year-olds, a 17-year-old, and an 18-year-old. But a good experience nonetheless.
Yeah, for sure. They'll gain a lot of stuff from curling here.
Absolutely. And on the New Brunswick side, we also got a pretty young team. You sometimes see that in the Atlantic provinces, but we're going to get going here with our bagpiper, and we'll let Sarah Corbiere, our venue announcer, take it away from the 2019 Canada Winter Games here in Red Deer, Alberta. We'll be back right after the announcements.
Good.
Site of the curling competition of the 2019 Canada Winter Games. This competition is presented by Shaw, the official telecommunications provider of the 2019 Canada Winter Games. Bienvenue au Centre Bederny pour la compétition de curling des Jeux d'hiver du Canada 2019. Cette compétition est présentée par Shaw, fournisseur officiel des services de télécommunication des Jeux d'hiver du Canada 2019. This morning's event features men's and women's draw number 12. Ce matin, nous vous présentons l'épreuve de placement chez les hommes et les femmes numéro 12. On sheets 2 and 3, sur les pistes 2 et 3, Newfoundland and Labrador versus Nova Scotia. La Terre-Neuve et Labrador contre la Nouvelle-Écosse. On sheets 4 and 5, sur pistes 4 et 5, Ontario versus Québec. Ontario contre Québec. sheets 6 and 7, sur les pistes 6 et 7, Alberta versus British Columbia. Alberta contre la Colombie-Britannique. On sheets 8 and 9, sur les pistes 8 et 9, Manitoba versus Saskatchewan. Manitoba contre Saskatchewan. And on sheets 10 and 11, sur les pistes 10 et 11, New Brunswick versus Prince Edward Island. Le Nouveau-Brunswick contre l'île de Prince-Édouard.
For every gold medal won at the 2019 Canada Games, Shaw Communications will donate $150 to a local charity in the Red Deer community chosen by the gold medalist. That's $25,000 going towards deserving.
So that's our venue announcer, Sarah Corbier. She'll be back here in a sec just to introduce our O Canada anthem singer, Shelley. She's back. She's done an amazing job all week. We kind of started with a recording of the O Canada. We were getting sick of it. So we have Shelley, who's done an amazing job. She comes and sings it a cappella. She's done a great job. So we'll get started with that. O Canada will be right here next, and then we'll get started in the first end of Draw 12 here at the Canada Winter Games.
We wish to acknowledge the
So some big games out there too, Dad. We were talking this New Brunswick game. Obviously, a win gets them in. Is kind of what we think. However, there's also some big games out there. Manitoba plays Saskatchewan, and with Manitoba being 5-4 and Saskatchewan being 4-5, it could be a huge game for both those two teams.
Yeah, certain losses here is going to create a real log jam for the playoff situation. It always happens when you get this many teams in a round robin. There's bound to be a whole bunch of scenarios that that can be good or cannot be good, depending on your perspective of what's going to go on here. But we'll soon find out at the end of this draw.
Absolutely. So here's Shelley and our national anthem.
Pouvez-vous vous lever et enlever vos chapeaux et rejoindre Shelley Popovich pour notre hymne national. O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. Catambra s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Another fantastic rendition by Shelley.
Shortly, you may slide. Les jeux vont commencer bientôt. Vous pouvez glisser.
So here we go. Draw 12. Once again, if you didn't get the introductions earlier, Joel Peterman back in the booth. This time joined by my father, the guy who taught me how to curl, Lowell Peterman. So we have some New Brunswick PEI action today. We'll keep you updated because of playoffs being so important and everything kind of being impacted in this last draw. We'll keep you updated throughout the day, or throughout the morning, I guess, about how everything else is going. We'll kind of go around the sheets and kind of give you an update of what's going on. So without further ado, our lead's going to get us started here. This is Colin McKenzie out of Kensington PEI, 17-year-old out of there. Colin, his kind of inspiration is Caitlin Laws. He says he's a big Jennifer Jones fan. He might like your daughter, Jocelyn Peterman, as well a little bit.
Perfect.
So he's a big Jennifer Jones fan, and he was really excited to get here at the Canada Winter Games. He said his inspiration, why he likes Caitlin Laws so much, is he actually loves mixed doubles more than he likes team curling a little bit, which is kind of interesting. A little bit better pace, and a little bit better for shot makers, and
Yeah.
a little bit different curling, but fun nonetheless.
So he throws his first rock a little deep, back 8 foot.
New Brunswick not going to take any chances. We've seen some teams throw the corner guard here and kind of get right after it. However, maybe with this game being important for New Brunswick, they're just going to start easy, start with some simple strategy, go up a little bit after it, a little bit later.
This rock's curling on them pretty good, but the sweepers did a good job of holding it straight. So
Did a really good job. We saw earlier in the week, kind of when we first started getting started, that ice was curling quite a bit. We were getting 5.5 feet of curl early in the week. And Dustin mentioned it yesterday, how we kind of see that. And my dad, Lowell, you as an ice maker kind of know how that works. Later in the week, the rocks start to dull a little bit.
yeah, they do.
So you won't see as much curler later in the week. However, still really good finish here on this rock by Colin McKenzie. The kids across all the sheets in all the provinces have really adopted that kind of high side sweeping, low side sweeping, directional sweeping, one would say. And they've done a really good job about it this week. Really good job managing the stones.
Yeah, it's pretty much every team does it now, and the new brooms or the new cloth material isn't quite as effective as it used to be, but it's still effective enough to make a little bit of a difference, and sometimes that's all you need.
Absolutely. So the New Brunswick lead there. Raj makes the takeout. Good start for him. It's nice to get your feet underneath you here in games like this, kind of get some easy shots out of the way. Sometimes that's why you see the strategy like this early on in games. I know, Lowell, you can speak from experience. Big games that you've played, sometimes it's easier to throw the rocks up and down a couple times, get used to the ice, get used to the spots. Maybe if you haven't played on sheet 10 like the boys have. So
Yeah, I used to see that lots when there were 10 end games for sure. A little bit less in the 8 end game scenario because you don't have quite as much time to generate offense. But I think at this age, it's probably a good idea to throw them up and down for an end or so.
Exactly. So you saw that. We got a rollout there by Liam Kelly, the second from Team PEI. Which will allow the second now for New Brunswick. This is Logan Pugsley. He's out of Lower Cloverdale, New Brunswick.
Probably wanted to throw a corner guard, but again, it looks like he's sliding in or maybe even a little deep. Might even be through.
So Shoot's going to get on it. Just slides through from your angle. Some straight on, you might not be able to see that, but we have the luxury of having the overhead cam here, and Mitchell did a good job of getting that one right through the rings. A couple inches out of the rings, and now they'll go that side, maybe set up a jam possibility. So, Dad, you just got back this week. You were out watching Joss out in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Besides the actual curling results, how was Sydney?
Cold.
Cold.
Yeah, wind was bone-chilling cold. Never felt so cold in all my life. It was minus 10 degrees at the max with a minus 40 wind chill factor.
Hey.
It was
Coming right off the ocean.
coming right off the North Atlantic, and it went right through your bones. You couldn't get warm enough.
Have you warmed up yet?
I think so, but I got a heck of a cold out of it.
Aye. Well, I haven't been much better here. We were mentioning earlier, I was doing a Northwest Territories game, and the girls from Northwest Territories are from Inuvik, basically as far north as you can go, and it was minus 2 Celsius in Inuvik. The same day here in Red Deer was minus 35.
Yeah. We got off the plane in Calgary, and it was minus 17, and it felt like a schnook to us. Like there was no wind, sun was shining. I would take the cold weather out here way more than cold weather out in the east.
Just a little bit different cold, I guess.
Oh, it's a damp cold. It's not the same, that's for sure.
Both of these teams would be used to it, though, both from the East Coast. We kind of got our neighborhood game going on today. Across the sheets, we got Newfoundland playing Nova Scotia, so two teams that are pretty close together. Quebec, Ontario, two kind of sister provinces. Alberta, BC, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and, of course, the games that we're featuring, PEI, New Brunswick. So we like to call this our neighborhood game today.
Yeah. Maybe the Banjo Bowl and sheets. 8 and 9, Saskatchewan gets Manitoba.
Absolutely. I saw the teams going to the Briar were already giving each other a hard time about that on Twitter.
Yeah.
Team Carruthers and Team Myers. So third here for Team PEI. This is Nicholas Johnston. He's going to come right back to that one, actually. So he's going to freeze up. Not quite on the nose, however, if New Brunswick doesn't take the hit on here, which I think they've switched to.
Yeah, there looks like he's going to try to pop it out of there.
Not a bad option, because even if you hit on nose and that one stays in the rings, you're still going to stay frozen. So,
yeah.
Kind of a cool story too, Dad, and you can speak to this here, but the third for New Brunswick here, his name's Alex Peasley. And can you have a little story there you can just share with the guys?
Well, apparently he lost the final to come to Canada Winter Games as a skip, and got asked to play on this team when a player dropped out. So I'm sure he's feeling very fortunate to be here after you lose, but it looks like he's a good player, so I'm sure he's really happy to be here.
Absolutely. And bringing that skip experience, we've seen that a lot kind of in teams going forward. The Team Einerson, for instance. There's been a few teams, I can't think of them off the top of my head, but having a few skips never hurts, I guess. I guess once the skips learn how to sweep, having that experience in the house is always not a bad thing.
For sure.
So Peasley makes the takeout, kind of spills everything, and then Johnson throws another one in, goes back.
Again, it's back 12 foot. Boys are finding the ice maybe a little keen this morning, but they're...
Yeah, so just finding the ice early on here. We can kind of get you guys maybe a time on a draw weight. We've been seeing about 14.5 all week. 14.5 is pretty consistent. We were getting closer to 15 earlier in the week, but we've kind of settled down into that 14.5 range. So
quite often the team that has the first practice, they're practicing on a little bit heavier ice, and so when they get out into the game, they tend to be, a little bit heavier, just because they practiced on heavier ice. So
it takes a little bit longer time to adjust.
Yep.
So Peasley hits it right on the nose. Pretty low stress end here in the first. PEI and New Brunswick. New Brunswick will have the hammer here. So this is our skip for P and PEI, Mitchell Shute. He's a 15-year-old, actually, 15-year-old skip. He wants to give a shout-out to. It's his mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Pam. It's her birthday today, and he says to mention that it's her 29th birthday.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
All moms are turning 29, aren't they? We've seen this PEI team earlier in the week, and the boys just keep gaining experience as they go. It's a up-and-coming team. Mitchell himself is a multi-sport athlete. He was the team captain of his baseball team as well. So I appreciate it, and I know you would as well, Dad, a guy who's a curler and a ball player.
Yeah, that's the best combination of sports as far as I'm concerned.
Mix in a little golf, and you got yourself the perfect trifecta.
Yeah. Looks like we might have a rollout here, or if he gets a piece of it. Oh, he's got a piece.
So that was our first look at the skip for Team New Brunswick, Boo Porter. Rolls out there will allow Mitchell a chance to draw open house here. Maybe put it in a different spot just so when Boo goes to blank here, it's not quite used to the path. Mitchell here too is actually the 3-time running U16 provincial champion in PEI. His teammates were quick to laugh at him though, because I guess one year he was the only team to enter. The only team to enter for U16, so he won that one by default. Oh, I should have got a time on this one, but I forgot to.
They're dusting it, so I think it's pretty close to the right weight, I think.
Just getting in the rings is the important thing here. And he will slide in, just biting the top 8. There's a few teams going right after each other in the first end as I look across, though. Team Newfoundland and Nova Scotia girls have a ton of rocks in play already in the first. And Team Ontario and Team Quebec boys have a few rocks in place. So a few teams getting after it a little earlier, maybe a little bit more used to the ice. So now have Boo Porter here, looking for the blank in the first.
I think that's a little wide and it's hanging on him, but he just didn't get it out.
So a miss there by Porter. He was a little in out on the release. Will lead to a steal of one. PEI will lead this game 1-0 after one end of play, but New Brunswick will retain the hammer here in the second end. Maybe a little bit of nerves crept in there. They know this is an important game for them.
Yeah, but they gotta realize it's not the end of the world and give up a steal in the first end. I always figured it's it's a very cheap hammer. You have a hammer coming back on the even ends now, and so you can't be too negative about giving up a steal in the first end. Just shake it off, and if it was later in the game, that's a whole different story. But first end, not so bad.
Absolutely. All about your mindset and how well you're coached, I guess, too. The way you bounce back from things like this, how quick you can let it go.
Yeah.
A little bit of that resilience, mental resilience, a la Chelsea Carey from this past week.
Oh, man, I'll tell you. I was impressed with the way she handled herself in that final game. And, well, even all the games, actually, she played really well. Deservedly got the MVP of the Scott Tournament Heart. So.
Absolutely. So PEI comes into the rings with their 1-point lead. They kind of decided to come right into the rings. New Brunswick still not wanting to take any chances, though, so they're going to actually take this out. You might see a corner guard here by some teams. Down 1-0 with hammer in the second end. Kind of wanting to score in the even ends is sometimes the scoreboard management that we've talked about before. Nonetheless, they're going to make a takeout roll into the 8-foot. Oh, our amazing sport lead, Sarah Moore, bringing us both coffee, Dad.
Yeah, that's great.
Is that your second one now this morning?
Maybe third.
Yeah. So I'll be commentating the second half of the second end by myself as my dad goes to the bathroom for the first time.
Might not make it that long. So we're playing another wide open game here. A little directional sweeping, trying to get this one to curl.
So Colin McKenzie will roll out, leaving an open house for Peasley, and this is where you might see the corner guard. Oh, they're going to go right in.
He's calling it into the ring, so not willing to take too much chance right yet.
So big games all across all the other sheets. Like we said, we're going to keep you updated as we go. There's the girls' games on the other side, and Brenda Rogers had to make this comment. I don't know how much I agree with her, but she said the girls' playoffs are already set because girls make things easy.
Huh.
She seems to think that women keep things simple. Meanwhile, the men's is all a mess.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
So the girls' playoffs are already set, like we said. So what's going to happen there in the girls is we have, let me just update it here. The top 6 teams already set. So Manitoba and Ontario in the women's have already guaranteed a spot in the semifinals. They will both get the bye because they're at only 1 loss. And the next closest team behind them is Alberta at 3 losses, so nobody can catch those top 2 teams. And then Alberta, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Saskatchewan are all at 3 or 4 losses, and British Columbia in 7th place is actually at 6 losses. So nobody can fall outside of the top 6. Nobody can fall outside of the top 2 for the top 2 teams. The women's is set. It's all just seeding now. So kind of seeding, I think Alberta being at 3 losses, unless they lose and it gets some like different combinations of win, I don't think, and when I was talking to Heather Neto beforehand, they can't fall lower than 4th. So Alberta ladies will finish 3rd or 4th depending on how they do. Manitoba, Ontario obviously are guaranteed the 1-2 spot, and then Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Saskatchewan are all fighting for 4th, 5th, and 6th. So things will kind of iron themselves out as these games finish today, but we'll keep you updated as much as we can on what's going on across the rings here at the Canada Winter Games in Red Deer, Alberta. Another simple game or end so far here, Dad.
Yeah, it sure is. They're just throwing them up and down.
New Brunswick not wanting to take any chances here, it doesn't look like.
No. Not often you're going to get a wide open miss here with the caliber of these kids. So, yeah, at some point in time you have to take a chance.
Liam Kelly hits it right on the nose. So Liam's dad was telling me, Liam didn't give him much information. On his other information that could be interested to the media, he just put his parents. And his dad was standing right there, and he said, "Oh, that's not very descriptive, Liam." So he added a little stuff. His dad added some stuff for me, and he said he actually started hockey at age 5. And then his dad's quote was that he came to his senses and started curling at age 6.
Yeah, you never did play hockey. We had you curling at probably age 5 or so.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if the Mackenzie might be related to the Mackenzie that has made it to the Briar from PI several times.
Eddie McKenzie?
Eddie Mackenzie.
I'm not sure. That's why we keep this computer in front of me, see if we can look stuff up.
Captain Google, here we go here.
It's not my new nickname. Eddie McKenzie, PEI. I don't know how I'd look Eddie McKenzie up.
Wikipedia, maybe, I don't know.
Maybe, well, he does say, Colin does say his stepdad used to curl.
Oh, he still curls. He made it to the Briar, I think it was last year or something.
Is he going this year again?
I'm not sure who went out of PEI. I'd have to go look that up. I think it might have.
Nonetheless, there's quite a few Mackenzies probably from PEI.
I'm sure it's probably a common name out there, as is Gallant. And
yeah. So things staying pretty simple here in the second end. We now have the third, Alex Peasley, 17-year-old, out of New Maryland, New Brunswick. The boys from New Brunswick are telling me that often in these Eastern teams, they're never really from the same city. Because they try and find the best curlers kind of from around a little bit of smaller province, they travel quite a bit to practice together if they can find a good team. And I think the second was actually telling me that Logan Pugsley was telling me that he's actually from Lower Cloverdale, which is about 2 hours away from any of the other boys. It's close to Moncton. And he has to travel 2 hours to practice with the boys. So he travels 2 hours as much as he can to get his practice in with the team. So sometimes the other boys come to him, and sometimes he drives 2 hours to practice with them. So good commitment to show, especially at a young age.
yes, for sure. I think that's happening a lot, even in Alberta. There's very few teams that are all from the same town or city. They kind of go out and get together with what they think, and it's going to create a very competitive team. So I think you're seeing more and more of that when it comes to competitive curling.
Should we bring up the fact that now people are traveling province to province to play together, or is that too soon?
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll leave that.
Here's a mistake by New Brunswick.
That was a very subtle change of subject there, Dad.
Yeah.
So New Brunswick's going to miss on the wide side there. Peasley misses on the wide side. Going to allow PEI to put a little bit of pressure on.
Yeah, good chance for another steal here if he puts a decent guard on.
Where do you think your ideal spot would be here?
Well, I think just in front of it, but I think you could be anywhere from top 12 to a couple feet short. You don't want to leave it too long or he's going to swoop around it, and it's just slightly behind the tee line, so you could probably freeze to that and maybe generate a skips deuce, but so you don't want this guard a long ways out.
Absolutely. And back to that PEI point, Dad, Eddie McKenzie didn't win this year. It'll be John Likely.
John Likely, yeah. That's
representing PEI at the Briar, along with Anson Carmody, who I had some experience playing against back at the Canada Games in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Burgess and Robbie Doherty.
Old Robbie.
Old Robbie made it back to the Briar. I think he's a good fan favorite, and a lot of guys like him.
Yeah.
If you had to pick a favorite for the Briar this year, who are you picking? You're not allowed to say Brett just because he's basically in the family.
Well, I'm going to have to say that Gushu has a good chance, as does Kevin Cooey, I think. So it's going to be a good Briar. I don't know. There is such a strong field there that it's hard to pick a clear-cut favorite. Well, PEI decided to split the house here. Interesting call. They're obviously going for the force here.
Yeah, kind of a change in strategy.
Yeah, now New Brunswick is looking at playing the hit and roll over, I believe. Yeah.
So a little bit different strategy there. You see some teams might throw the guard there and look for the steal. However, maybe shoot thinking if he comes a little bit deep, all of a sudden he allows a double and they get out of it. So not a bad decision. You're going to allow New Brunswick to potentially score in the even end. However, you're going to have Hammer tied up going into the third end, which never a bad thing either.
So he's trying to roll over there, and he's got a good looking rock.
Oh, he actually stage shot rocked.
Stage shot rock there.
That's about as good as you could do.
Yeah.
Good shot there by Boo. Nobody's booing that one.
No.
Oh! Punny. Oh, I thought it was very punny.
So shoot, we'll try to roll just a little ways away from that, so not to create a big pocket for a draw down there, but looks like he's got it at least on the nose.
Important to stick around here, I think, is the big thing. Get as much separation
Got
late.
Got a little roll. That's a really good shot.
That's about as good as you could do, too. Good shooting here early on.
Yep.
We were really impressed with this Mitchell shoot in the last game we did. They were playing Saskatchewan, and he played so well that he kept his team in it, kept his team in it, kept his team in it. He unfortunately just missed his last shot, and Saskatchewan came home with the victory. But been very impressed with the young 15-year-old skip out of Cornwall, Prince Edward Island. He's got a lot of potential. He's got that tuck delivery that you don't often see from Eastern teams, but
no.
I think his favorite curler is Nicholas Adine, so you see a little bit of that in it. So Nicholas getting down low.
New Brunswick selected to hit and stick here.
So important to stick around because if any roll out, you might see another steal for PEI. However,
looks pretty good. Rolling a little bit, but he won't. Yeah, he sticks around for shot rock. So
stay right on the 2 of the 2019. And we're all tied up after 2. 1-1 PEI tied up. PEI will have Hammer in the third end.
Over in the girl sheet, we got some rocks in play.
Holy. What do we got? New Brunswick, or PEI sitting 1.
PEI sitting 1 and throwing here right now. They have Hammer as well.
New Brunswick scored 2 in the first, so New Brunswick leads PEI girls 2-0 on their side. Some of those big games that we're keeping an eye on, too, will kind of keep you updated. Nova Scotia men are leading Newfoundland men 3-0, getting a 3 spot early in that game. Trying to see what that means here quickly. Just one sec. Just Nova Scotia is one of those teams that needs a victory. So that's a big 3 spot for them against Newfoundland early on in that game. They need a victory and they need a little bit of help, and maybe we'll go to that last stone draw, cumulative last stone draw, to see how things shake out. But nonetheless, a big 3 spot for Nova Scotia early in that game against Newfoundland. On the girls' side of things, we've said the playoffs are kind of already set. However, Nova Scotia leads Newfoundland girls 1-0 in that game. Ontario playing Quebec. The boys, Ontario, lead 1-0 after 1 end to play. They're finishing last stones in the second. Quebec girls lead Ontario girls 1-0 in their game, with the last stones coming here also in the second. BC versus Alberta men in a game that basically is just going to decide seeding. I believe Alberta boys, if they win that game, can get as high as second, so that would be a big game for them. Depending on how kind of last stone and head-to-heads work, but big game nonetheless for Alberta. Alberta girls versus BC girls. Alberta girls are trailing 1-0, and they will have a draw for 3 here, it looks like, in the second end. So Alberta girls looking to take a 3-1 lead over BC after 2. We'll keep you updated on what the result is there. Manitoba, Saskatchewan. Defensive game starting here, and they blanked the first end. Saskatchewan has hammer in the second, and I think Manitoba's drawn in here against one. And the girls' side of things, Saskatchewan is leading 1-0 over Manitoba after 2 ends of play, after a blank in the second. Our featured sheet, 1-1 after 2, and we've already updated the girls on the far side, New Brunswick leading 2-0 after 1 end of play. Getting some offense here.
Yes, we have a guard up and a rock behind it, so
New Brunswick went with a high center. PEI lead Colin McKenzie went right around her. So he's gone just behind the button.
Just behind the button. They're trying to freeze to it now. Here it looks pretty good. Sweepers are on it. Comes a little light, but that's a pretty good shot. Cuts down the scoring area.
Based on the cheering by Alberta, I'm thinking the girls made the draw for 3. And the blue man suits.
Yeah, here we go. Go Alberta.
TSN broadcasters have to be unbiased. However, because we're just hired volunteers, are we allowed to say go Alberta? Absolutely. I think we are.
Okay, good.
So Alberta girls got a 3 spot there in the second end, like we said, and they now lead BC 3-1. Some unfortunate circumstances with that Team BC girls team. We felt bad for them. They thought the game this morning was at 10 a.m. The game was actually at 9 a.m. So the girls came here. They were a little bit in a fluster, if that's the right term. Got here kind of right on game time and had to start right away. So they actually scored a point in the first end, so jumped right into things. However, they now trail Alberta girls 3-1. PEI trying to wrap another stone around there. I don't know quite if they got second shot. So
New Brunswick might be able to get the double here and nose hit and pick that one out from behind the forefoot and be sitting too if they hit it just a hair high side.
That's always kind of the worry. I'm playing a shot like that. I think Colin McKenzie was trying to freeze to the top blue one. However, just a little bit wide. Weight was close, but now he's left the double here for for New Brunswick, sorry.
Some discussion about this shot here. He's gone back to the takeout. To me, that's the best option here. It looks like he can get both yellows here.
Get both yellows and maybe even roll right away and keep that one dead buried behind the center.
Yeah, that would be the ideal situation.
If you sit right there, all of a sudden you're leaving a double right back for PEI. So
this one's curling maybe a bit on him. I think he's going to get it.
That's great sweeping.
That's great shot.
Great sweeping there by Porter to keep that straight. And it will sneak out. So New Brunswick now sitting 2. Great team shot there. Good throw, good sweeping. He's going to leave the double back, however, kind of mission accomplished by getting both those.
He's got to get quite thin quite thin on the left-hand rock to make the double.
Almost a better option would probably be to hit and roll, kind of frozen.
Mm-hmm. So it's the second Liam Kelly throwing this rock. This one's a little wide. Looks like we're trying to directionally sweep to get it over to the nose of the left one, but he will roll out, I believe.
Important if you could stick around, but no, it will gently hit the boards. And now New Brunswick sitting one buried behind a center guard. You can't ask for a much better situation than this.
Nope.
They're actually going to call
they're going to go for the second guard.
Tight guard. We've been using the Furby system all week. Since Dave's here, Dave's somewhere in the crowd, we've been using his system all week, so we're going to call a 3 here. Kind of that tight guard.
Okay.
Got to give Dave a little shout out. We loved his tweet. Dustin and I were talking about his tweet when he said, yeah, apparently our system never worked, and all it was a picture of his 5 Briar rings.
Yeah, that was a great response to that. I saw that as well. This rock looks a little heavy. He's not quite the desired location that they asked for.
Not exactly a tight guard. We're sliding right into the back. 12?
Back 12 foot.
However, kind of buried behind everything, so Schutt's almost got to get rid of the guard, I think, here. He's been a very mature shot caller this week, and his strategy has been very good. He knows when he has to bail. So I've only done the 2 games now of him, but been watching him across the sheets, and he calls a really good game for a 15-year-old. Been very impressed.
Yeah. So Kelly's throwing the peel shot here. Again, a little wide, and don't know if he's going to make contact with anything.
Be lucky to get a piece of the back one. He will not. He'll push it actually more buried behind the guard.
Not real good results for those throws there.
Teams getting caught, like we talked about earlier in the broadcast, Dad, about things are just kind of a little bit straighter later in the week.
Yeah, as the running the running edge of the rock gets smoother over time. During an event like this, with this many games on every sheet, they're bound to straighten up a little bit as that running edge just polishes up a little bit.
Would you ever dare scratching them before the playoffs, or no? How
Uh,
long does it take? You're an ice maker. How long does it take?
well, with this many sheets, it takes a while.
But they would only be
but they
playing
would-
4 for playoffs.
It doesn't take that long, so I mean, it's probably a possibility.
However, that would just change things a little bit
yeah,
again.
I don't know if they'd want to
Add another variable, I guess.
add another variable to the situation in this, with this being so important. So I think they'll probably leave it alone. And I mean, there's not a whole lot difference. It's still moving, almost 4 feet as opposed to the 5.5 that we had earlier. So, as much as it seems like it's getting straighter, there's still curl to make shots come around guards. And
Absolutely. I guess they kind of get spoiled earlier in the week, and then it kind of just balances out.
yeah,
So good guard there. New Brunswick made a good adjustment, getting their second guard up, kind of cutting off the draw path from that side. So you will see a double peel attempt here by Johnston. And I think he's got her.
yeah, very good shot.
It's almost as good as you could do.
Yeah,
Maybe throw it a little harder, you spin those things farther, but good spot. New Brunswick still sitting 2. Kind of top 4 foot, back 8 foot, biting back 8 foot. They're kind of trying to replace that center guard.
yeah. As you can see, they're taking almost 4 feet of ice to get this rock over to the center line. So maybe a hair inside the 8 foot. So maybe 3.75 feet of curl, which is still pretty good and pretty average curl for, we didn't see a whole lot more than that at the Scotties this year. So
No, they were kind of dealing with some different spots, and I
yeah,
think we can speak to Jocelyn's team for an example, but that team just kind of struggled with finding the right ice and struggled putting the broom in the right spot, and
yeah,
especially draw weight, kind of struggled with consistent draw weight.
yeah, they seem to be struggling with weight, that's for sure. And
Kind of overthrowing things, underthrowing things.
yeah,
So the guard there by Peasley overcurls a little bit.
slightly overcurled, got just over the center line by a little bit, so exposes the shot rock by almost half a rock. So should be accessible with a quiet weight, although he's not taking a lot of ice here.
This is where we talk about those pro side misses. Important to miss tight, if anything, because you want to stay around. Bigger weight will lead to a rollout, which you will
Yeah.
see there. So maybe not quite the right weight choice, you thinking?
No, I think he should have thrown like board weight and made sure he stick around, because now this allows New Brunswick to come around that center guard.
Absolutely, and they can maybe put a better one in there, more buried,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you're still got a center guard up. So
Yeah,
the pro side miss there would have been, if you're throwing that weight, miss tight.
yeah.
Get the guard off if you need to, or hit as much as you can.
A little bit of problem in that delivery was that he was a little inside out. He was sliding tight, and then he set it back to the broom, and so that just makes it run way straighter than it should have. And
So Boo Porter now,
this rock's curling on him, but
the 4th thrower for New Brunswick. It's a little bit light. It's going to end up just a tight guard. So now Mitchell kind of weighing his 2 options. He could hit the one at the back of the house if he wanted to, but if he wants to get a 2 here,
Yeah.
I don't see the harm in going around. You got a rock at the back of the house, which is only going to help you out.
Yeah.
If you could bury a good one around, you might have a chance at 2.
Yeah, puts this one in front of the tee line, buried. Good chance at a skips deuce here.
So Mitchell, we've mentioned before, he's a
Sorry.
big fan of Nicholas Edin. He met him at a camp, the CCE camp. And of course, it's his mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Pam. I like this discussion here. You can see Mitchell talking to his teammates. We've stressed that all week, especially these younger teams. Communication is key. Talking about different paths, talking about the speeds, talking about what the sweepers want to see here, what kind of split time. See if Mitchell can get close with his draw here.
Sweepers are going on it hard, so they must figure he's a little bit light.
He's asking for help too.
Now we have 3 on it.
McKenzie drops out.
Yeah, it's going to be light. It's dropping out a...
Exact same spot Boo Porter ended up.
Yeah.
Same depth. So now this actually allows a big opportunity for New Brunswick. If they could get through this hole, they're going to play the out-turn draw. If they could get through the hole and get to the top 4 foot, all of a sudden Mitchell's going to face a real tough one on his last. He might have to play some kind of run back or draw the wide side just to give up 1. We'll see what he comes up with here.
Looks like his weight is pretty close.
He's indicating that he thinks he's a little
indicating
heavy.
it's heavy, but sweepers are on it, and I guess they're trying to keep it from
straight.
bracking on the guard. But if he gets by that guard, he's got a beauty.
Look at this one. The boys are going to drag it now, try and get as much as they can out of it. Beautiful shot there. Gets right half into the 4 foot. New Brunswick now sitting 2, dead buried here in the 3rd end. PEI will have hammer. Mitchell's talking about the exact 2 options we were talking about. Do you want to try and run something back and stick it, or do you want to try and just draw for 1? His front end likes the draw.
Yeah, I think the draw for 1 is a little bit is the better shot. Or, you know, even if he doesn't draw and get shot rock, he at least cut them out of 1 of them if he gets into the full 8 foot. So, being this game is as tight as it was, I think this is the right call. If he misses a run back and gives up a steal or 2, that is a bit of a momentum swing. So all he's got to do is he can get full 4 to get shot rock, and if he's a little light and gets 8 foot, he's cut him to 1. And like I said before, giving up a steal and this early in the game,
In the odd end.
on the odd end, is not the end of the world.
See what kind of time we can get on this one. He's a tuck thrower, so I can't exactly see when he releases it, but
Yeah. I see he's got the custom sliding broom cut off.
yeah, we were laughing about that broom earlier too. Pretty short.
This one's got a little more weight. He's hanging out there, so it's an indication that it might be a little heavy.
Got 14-2, so he should be about back 8.
Should stop to cut him to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a good call.
So that 14-2 speed, we're looking around 14.5, 14-2 being back 8, so a little bit heavy. Will allow a steal of 1 for New Brunswick there. New Brunswick now leading 2-1 after 3 ends of play. PEI will have the hammer here in the 4th end at the 2019 Canada Winter Games from Red Deer, Alberta. So our head official dad is Brenda Rogers, amazing Brenda Rogers, has given us the last stone draw kind of rankings to help us out with playoff situations just in case we get there. We're not going to announce those yet just because it doesn't really matter depending on how the teams do, but at the end of our broadcast we will update you on kind of the playoff situation as it is. Yeah, so that's how it'll go. We got them in front of us. We got both men's and women's. I'm actually going to give our women's to our women's broadcast beside us so they can speak to the playoff format for them. and we'll go from there. But New Brunswick with a steal in the third end. They now lead 2-1. We'll kind of go across the rings here to give you a quick update as Raj for Team New Brunswick throws his center guard up here in the fourth end. Way over on sheet A or sheet 2, depending on if you're alpha or if you're a numerical person. Nova Scotia leads in the boys' side of things 3-1 after 2 ends of play. And actually putting a lot of pressure. Looks like they're sitting 4 against Newfoundland here in the third end. The Nova Scotia versus Newfoundland girls game is 2-0 for Nova Scotia after 2 ends of play. They're in the third end as well. Ontario versus Quebec in the men's side is all tied up after 2 ends of play. The identical score on the girls' side, 1-1 after 2 ends of play. BC versus Alberta in the men's game that we think could potentially decide who gets the bye to the semifinal is 2-2 after 3 ends of play, Alberta having hammer in the fourth. The Alberta girls, we've indicated earlier, got 3 in the second end, and they lead still 3-1 over BC after 3 ends of play now. Saskatchewan versus Manitoba in a big game on the men's side. Saskatchewan leading 1-0 after 2 ends of play. In the third end here, it looks like Saskatchewan's still sitting 1, and Manitoba has a tough shot. I don't know if it's even there, but it could be for 3 if they make it. We'll keep you updated. Saskatchewan leading 2-0 in the girls' side of things over Manitoba. Our game 2-1 after 3 ends of play. And on the far side of things, PEI got a deuce back, and they now are tied with New Brunswick 2-2 after 2 ends of play. They're just in the third end.
Okay, back to our game. Our New Brunswick lead has made 2 great shots, a center guard and a perfect come around to the top 4. So it looks like PEI is going to try and run their own guard back on this, which is completely legal. You can take your own rock out of the free guard zone.
So this might confuse some of our viewers just because they think free guard zone, you can't take anything out. But like my dad indicated there, you can actually take your own guards out.
So we call that often the peel of shame. You throw up a guard and then you take it off.
Basically, none of your shots. None of your shots were even worth anything.
Yeah. So he rolls it off, so it wasn't a completely wasted shot. But New Brunswick still has the center guard up and a rock top 12, so they'll come and try and replace that guard, or even come in again. Good looking line here. It's going to get by the guard. He's coming right into the rings. Oh, really good shot. He almost freezes to the top, to the shot stone, and so they still have the guard. So the PEI second will be attempting to peel this or run it back into these.
So they can now peel the guard after our 5th stone was delivered there by New Brunswick.
And he's got the peel, rolling it away. It was a good shot.
So New Brunswick sitting 2, going to throw up a guard here. Both teams doing really good on time. We've talked about this before, but just for our viewers, each team receives 30 minutes of thinking time. Your thinking time will start when the other team's stone comes to rest and will stop once you cross the near tee line. So they get 30 minutes of that thinking time per game. They want to stay around a little bit higher than 15 minutes after 4 ends. Just because the second half of the game tends to take a little bit longer. But both teams right now, PEI has 19 minutes and New Brunswick actually has 21 and a half minutes. So both teams doing fantastic on time. Time will not be an issue in this game. I haven't actually seen across the other sheets if time has become an issue for any teams.
I haven't watched a lot, so I can't comment on that. This guard over curled a little bit, so exposed the New Brunswick stones. to allow a takeout here. If he can hit this and sit on the nose, it's probably a good shot. Stay frozen to the blue rock, but they're trying to make it curl now. Gonna roll off it for sure, but not a bad shot.
Gonna get rid of the one. New Brunswick stone. Rolls out into the open though. Oh, Peasley almost lost his balance there going down. He's gonna allow the hit and roll attempt here by Peasley to roll back on top of it. That guard just being a little bit too high, I guess, there by New Brunswick. Great shot on the New Brunswick side, though. Did you see that one, Dad? The New Brunswick skip for the girls' side just made, I think, a triple for one.
No, I didn't happen to see that, but I just noticed the lead is holding the broom. Is it? I guess that's the way they do it here.
Yeah, I think that's probably because Peasley being new to this team, the skip kind of experience that they have, he's been holding the broom for most of the shots. But then they bring in Raj here, the lead for New Brunswick, to hold the broom for his shots.
Oh, okay.
Boo maybe being the better sweeper, the fourth thrower. Being the better sweeper, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't actually ask them about that.
Interesting. So he makes a hit and rolls a little bit, almost though he could have rolled further or stayed out farther. This is pretty much a nose hit double here he's left for PEI.
Important to get the inside, though. If you ever hit on the outside and leave it there, spill your shooter out. So it'll be important here for the third, Nicholas Johnston, to get to the inside. Good crowds again today. Look at both sides, basically. That's the school, right? An elementary school. I got to figure out, I wonder if somebody could figure that out, which school it is.
Makes the nose hit and makes a double. There seems to be a little bit of controversy here. What happened? It might have been a burned stone. I'm not quite sure.
This is where we might have to call an official timeout here.
I didn't see anything, but he made the shot as called.
So they're calling official timeout here. They're going to kind of get some clarification. We've talked about this rule before. It's a rule change, and not many people are aware of it. If the rock is burned between the hog lines, it should come off right away. However, if the rock was burned after the hog line, they have to kind of determine what the rock would have done. It doesn't necessarily just come off.
That's right.
Which back in the day, it would come off no matter where it was hit.
Yeah.
So the official's probably going to talk to the boys here and say where exactly was the rock burned and kind of make the best decision they can. However, the non-offending team, which in this case would be New Brunswick, would get to place it where they think the best option would be.
Had it not been burned, yeah. So this is going to be interesting here.
So based on them putting the rocks back, I believe that they've determined the rock was burned between the hog lines. Because I think they're actually putting the rocks.
They look like they're putting them back to where they were. Yeah, so it must have been burned between the hog lines then, and then they acknowledged that they burned it. If that's the case, that's the right interpretation of the rule. The rock has to come off. It was burned between the hog lines, but if it was burned afterwards, it's up to the non-offending team to determine what would have happened had it not been burned. It looked like it was a really good shot. I don't know if we're accessible to
a replay,
any kind of replay here, but I doubt it. So
I could get actually a replay because I could pull it up on our live stream. Just give me a second here.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what transpired there. But in any event, New Brunswick is left with the two rocks in the 8-foot and throwing another one right now.
I'll pull up a replay here, Dad. See what exactly happened. You update them on this shot. I'll pull up the replay.
Okay. They're trying to make this rock curl. They want to get it to guard these. It needs to curl a little more. They're going to leave an internal shot here. Yeah, it didn't quite curl enough. There, it's finishing a little bit.
So here's our replay. We'll kind of give you an
Watching-
indication.
Watching the replay, they're sweeping it. I see no.
Oh, he kicked it right at the end there.
Yeah, but
I thought that was after, right there.
yeah, I thought he was going to get more of an inside roll, and then he ended up hitting it right on the nose. So he kicked it with the PI sweeper, touched it with his foot, but it was after the hog line. No, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the right interpretation of the rule was made there, but in any event, we're carrying on, so it can't be changed. So PEI is left with probably an intern port here to come through with the takeout. There's not much room on either side of these rocks that he's trying to get through, and I think he touched the one.
Good try there by Colin. Sorry. By Nicholas Johnston, the third for PEI. Almost got through, but kind of one of those worst case scenarios because now he's left the guard up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, didn't quite get through.
Another well-placed guard here is going to give New Brunswick the advantage in this end for sure. PI with hammer would dearly love to score at least one here to tie this game up. Ideally get a deuce, but deuce is going to be hard coming right now.
Some clapping, something happened. I believe the Alberta boys scored another deuce, so they're playing a perfect game so far. Force them to one, get a deuce. Force them to one, get a deuce.
Yeah, that Alberta.
So I was indicating earlier how the crowds look bigger for a 10 a.m., 9 a.m. game, and I was kind of trying to figure out. And then I remembered we actually have a school here. Down on the far side of things, Barry Wilson Elementary School is here.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they filled up 2 whole bleachers worth. I'm not sure exactly which grades, but they're all here and they're supporting. Kind of a cool experience for those kids to see a national competition like this.
The crowds have been great all week here, though, too. It's just amazing. You come here and there's hardly any parking anywhere. And it's just the curling. Well, the whole Winter Games have been supported by fans. Unbelievable.
Absolutely. I think we mentioned this on air earlier. I don't know if you're listening to us or not, but the capacity of the building is 700 normally, and they actually had to bring in inspectors and fire department to raise the capacity of the building because they've been selling out and they've had to turn people away, and they didn't want to keep doing that. So they raised it from 700 to 850 people.
Oh, that's great.
I don't think the Red Deer Prairie Center was quite ready for the amazing support they've seen for the curling event, so it's been fantastic, but it couldn't be done without the amazing volunteer support from all our volunteers, from everybody working in media, from down in the booth, there's our food, there's the volunteers running everything in the volunteer lounge, our amazing our videographer, as always, Siham Akkad from Lebanon. She's doing a fantastic job again. Everybody involved with the webcast. There's 2 webcasts running now. They usually only give each sport 1 camera and 2 headsets, and we've convinced Evan and the webcast team to bring us another set of headsets and another live manned camera, so amazing job by them. So many amazing things that are happening here at the Canada Games, and especially to support curling the way they have is just a very testament to the sport of curling, how it's growing, and just the amazing job done here at the Canada Winter Games. So thank you to everybody involved. I know I'm forgetting a lot of people. So if I miss you, you can tweet at me or text me, complain. It's 2019. I'm going to offend somebody by saying something or missing somebody.
So in our game here, PEI has switched.
You got to talk into your microphone for it to work.
Yeah. PEI has switched to the offense here. They're going to try and come around into the 4-foot. Basically, the only option he has is Rock's hanging out a little bit on him, but he looks like he's got pretty good weight.
So we saw our first time out there of the game, Dad. Do you like the kind of switching strategy?
Oh, I think, yes, it was.
Look at this. Dead
Yeah.
buried around the high guard.
That's not, it's a really good shot. It could have curled a little more. The I think it's accessible with the length of the guard. The guard is a long way out there. You should be able to get to this with board weight or hack weight and probably even hit it on the nose. Ideally, that would be the best shot because it would be really tough to score for PI, but he may be just happy to peel it out of there.
You see this announcement, Dad? Team Flaxey has just announced that they're splitting up.
Well, that didn't last long.
Not even a full season.
No.
So what they've said, they've just tweeted out that we have accepted our invitation to the Grand Slam Curls Champions Cup since they won one of the big events. However, this will be their last event as they'll be parting ways at the conclusion of that event. So Team Flaxey, that included Kate Cameron, Taylor McDonald, and Renora Westcott. So they're actually going to split up at the end of this year.
Michelle Englot's old
team.
team with Flaxey skipping it now. He's
good shot there by Boo Porter. He looks a little bit disappointed. They did a fantastic job getting that by. I think he's a little bit disappointed that he left it right there, though. It's kind of being picky at that point. It was a fantastic shot.
That's a really good shot. He got by. I'm not sure what he's so upset about. Wanted to roll out, I think. But when you're...
He narrowly got by that guard.
Narrowly got by the guard, and when you're laying three and you're making the other team hit and stick, that's... and he doesn't have much room for error. He can roll, 2 feet to the left here, but he rolls out a little bit, and they're going to steal a point. So I don't think he could be too disappointed with that shot. Now, Schutt is playing a fairly hard takeout. I thought he'd maybe throw this with a little quieter weight.
It'll force him to stick around. Oh, it spun back a little bit. Yeah. However, I think it's going to be a steal of one for New Brunswick.
Yeah, that's a real big steal. I thought Schutt would play that with a little quieter weight just to make sure he sticks it on the nose or even gets over the top a little bit to make sure he scores. But a little surprising on the weight selection there.
Exactly. Right after he saw Boo Porter come down with a little bit less weight and he got by and stuck around, it would have been nice to see Schutt throw maybe a little bit less there.
Yeah, control at most or even board, he could have made that shot and made sure he scored. There's a big difference here between, now it's a 3-1 game instead of it could have been 2-2 with a softer shot there. So
absolutely. So a steal by New Brunswick will make the score 3-1 for New Brunswick here after the fourth end. PEI will have the hammer after the break. We're going to give you a quick around the rings to give you an update, and then we're going to take a break. My dad's already off to the bathroom. The coffee's hit him. Coffee has hit him, and he's already gone. That he lasted 4 ends. Is anybody else surprised that he didn't take any sooner than that? However, I'll give you a quick around the rings. We got Nova Scotia men are leading in a must-win for them. They're leading 7-2 over Newfoundland, so a big game for them. Newfoundland and Nova Scotia ladies on their side is 2-1 for Nova Scotia. Ontario men are leading Quebec men 3-2 after 4 ends of play. Ontario with hammer. Opposite on the girls' side of things, Quebec ladies are leading 3-2 over Ontario after 4 ends of play. Ontario with hammer there as well. The Alberta men, we've mentioned they're playing a perfect game so far. One of those perfect games where you force and then get 2, force and then get 2. So they're leading 4-2 after 4 ends of play. BC with the hammer in the 5th. Alberta ladies have stolen 1 in the 4th end, so they now lead 4-1 over BC after 4 ends of play. Saskatchewan in a must-win game for them against the Manitoba men. They are leading 2-1 after 4 ends, and they will have hammer in the 5th. Identical score on the Saskatchewan versus Manitoba ladies side. The Saskatchewan ladies leading 2-1, and they also have hammer in the 5th. Our game, 3-1. For New Brunswick, after 4 ends of play, PEI will have hammer in the 5th. And on the far side of things, we have New Brunswick versus PEI, and New Brunswick is leading on the girls' side 3-2 after 3 ends of play. They're just coming down to their last couple rocks here in the 4th. So we'll be back after a short break. We're at the 2019 Canada Winter Games from Red Deer, Alberta. We'll be back.
Okay, we're back going on our sheet. On the girls' sheet, I think PI just drew for 2, so put them up 4-3 after 4. New Brunswick staying with the offense here, throwing a halfway guard. Leeds played a good game for New Brunswick today. His rocks are always in good position. Mackenzie trying to come around the guard, I assume.
Sorry, I'm back. Eating. Trying to eat some breakfast.
Sweepers are trying to hold this one straight. Needs a little for Wade as well. I think he's going to come a little short. Not ideal.
So the crossed over guard will give New Brunswick the chance without Hammer here to bury one around there. Not exactly what Mackenzie was looking for on that first one.
No.
So Dad, who do you got winning the playing game tonight? Botcher versus Epping.
Boy, that's going to be a good game. I really don't want to place a bet on that one.
But if you had to.
If I had to, I'd say Botcher.
Yeah?
I think they're playing as well as a team can play right now. They're firing on all cylinders, as you say, and I think they'll win. But John Epping can pull a game out by himself sometimes. I've seen him just shoot the lights out. And if your skip can play, up in the 90s, almost 100%, he can pull a game out.
I think we've seen both those skips do that. Two of the best shot makers at skip. Botcher as well lately.
Brandon's playing really well. Throwing the rock as pure as, you can throw it. So PEI elected to come around and with their leads rocking. It's back 12 foot. Again, not an ideal placement of that rock. So New Brunswick, advantage New Brunswick here early in this end.
New Brunswick trying to bury one around here. This is their second. Logan Pugsley. Once again, a very important game here for New Brunswick. A win they might be in, but a loss would put them in a big mess.
Oh, they've snuck this around, but he's a little bit deep. He's going to the back 8 foot. So again, if that rock is, top 4, it's ideal. Being that it's back 8, it's almost advantage PI because now they can freeze into there. So, boy, placement of these rocks is very important. But we are having some rocks in play, so we're going to see an interesting end, I believe.
Absolutely. I love the offense. Commentating offense, it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
English is fun. English is hard. Words are hard. Sound like I have marbles in my mouth.
Saw an interesting sign the other day. Bad spellers of the world unite. Or untie.
Untie. Bad spellers of the world untie. Perfect. I would definitely be in that group. I'm one of those millennials that's grown up on spell check, so don't like to admit that, especially being a teacher, but I mean, students, study your spelling.
Yes, very important.
Especially French immersion students. Study your spelling. I'm a French immersion teacher, if that didn't make sense for anybody without context there.
New Brunswick's coming around these guards again. If it looks like a good shot, we might be a hair light. They're sweeping all their. It is definitely going to be light.
Not a bad result,
but
though.
The result isn't bad. They've got that front clogged right up here. It's going to be tough for PI to get in anywhere to score, and he's looking at bailing here right away, getting rid of some of these guards.
Not a bad idea. So we're big baseball fans, Dad. I obviously played college baseball down in the States, and my dad was my inspiration ball player all the way through. What did you think of Bryce Harper's contract yesterday?
Well, I think it's ridiculous, to be honest. But
$330 million.
yeah, it's. I also thought Machado's was ridiculous. So
You hate Machado though, so
I
that's.
don't like Machado.
Dad likes the guys who play the game the right way, and Machado is basically the antithesis of that. Kind of not running out ground balls, showboating.
Yeah, no, I just don't appreciate that.
Good shot there by Liam Kelly, though. Back to curling a little bit.
Put her right on the tee line, and it's pretty much buried, so it's a very good shot. It's going to force New Brunswick to. It's interesting how New Brunswick does this skip by committee thing here. The lead is holding the broom right now. He's calling the shots. The other three are standing down at this end talking about the shot. So it's a
little bit different way to do things.
A little bit different, but now they're looking at running the guard in. That rock is dead buried, so.
Right on the nose would be a good result, but maybe without hammer, maybe a freeze wouldn't have been a bad option either.
Yeah, I kind of agree with the freeze here, but if he makes it, it's a unbelievably good shot, but didn't he run it onto his own rock in the top of the 12-foot and left the PEI rock buried? So again, results not very good for New Brunswick.
Both teams kind of skipping my committee.
Yeah.
Johnston for PEI now standing right down there with his skip.
Yeah.
So Harper's contract was ridiculous. For a guy who's basically what is his average, like 280 every year?
Yeah.
25 home runs. What are guys going to be worth here in 10 years if that's the contracts that are going?
Yeah.
A guy like Mike Trout, who's widely recognized as the best player in baseball, hasn't even signed his extension yet. I can't imagine what that guy's contract's going to be.
Yeah.
Arenado from Colorado signed that one for 30-some million a year. Like, crazy.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Baseball's got some unbelievable stuff happening right now. Highest paid Blue Jays playing for the New York Yankees.
That's good. Is that Troy Tulowitzki?
Troy Tulowitzki, highest paid Blue Jay.
He's actually hit a home run against the Blue Jays already this spring training, too.
Playing for the Yankees this year.
Are we still paying for his contract? Is that why he's the highest?
Exactly.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Good. We're Blue Jays fans and we're Oilers fans. Right now, at this point, like, how do we find any hope in anything? I guess Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Yeah.
He's the hope, but they don't even want to play him because of the stupid rule where they have to keep him down for a certain period just to keep his service time or whatever. We're not talking much about curling, however.
Yeah, back to our game here.
So PEI still sitting one, kind of side 4-foot here. It is dead buried behind a kind of a mess of guards. We got 5 different guards up there at different angles.
The house is well blocked off. If PEI can ever get another rock in there, the chance of a multiple end is very good.
Our skip by committee by New Brunswick here. All 4 guys are now standing in the house.
Yeah. They elected to play the run back last shot, and it's the same situation, so I'm not sure. Yeah, they're going to play the run back again.
If they could ever hit this right on the nose, I know it's not probably the best call, but it might be the best result.
Yeah.
So it's kind of risk-reward, one of those things.
Because if they don't hit it on the nose and they don't leave their guard right there, they're going to open up for the draw for PI to get another rock in there.
Absolutely. So PEI, without hammer, trying to kind of get a 2-spot in there, but right now it's not easy for PEI. So this might actually help them if this rock is missed and rolled open.
Yep. PI has hammer.
Porter trying to keep this one straight.
Doing a good job. Doing a good job.
Really good job.
I think they got it. Oh, worst case scenario. They probably just chiseled it over to the button.
Man, he did a good job keeping that straight.
Yeah. Well, now PEI has 2 rocks on the left-hand side of the sheet with a good raise. But he's elected to. I'm not sure about this call. That's a very skinny port to come through.
Play maybe a tap on the other
Play
side.
a tap on the left side, stay on the nose, and push it into the forefoot. This is probably the highest degree of difficulty a shot that you could play on this sheet right now. Not quite sure why we don't play the raise over on the other side, but
Either raise.
either raise. You could raise the outside one or the inside one. Instead, we're trying to come through a little port here. I mean, if he makes it, it's a great shot, but
Not the easiest. Got to
It's
hair
just-
the top guard.
and hair the outside one.
Ladies and gentlemen, Waskasoo is in the building. Notre mascotte Waskasoo est ici. He's currently upstairs, but will make his way downstairs. Il est en haut, mais il va venir en bas ici bientôt.
Oh no, Waskasoo is in the building. All our popularity just got lost to the mascot.
Oh, no.
He is going to take all our fans. All our fans are gone. Waskasoo is in the building. Waskasoo, for people once again without no contact, is the mascot of the Canada Winter Games. He's a reindeer? Question mark?
I'm not sure what
What he is?
what he is.
Reindeer? Is he? He's a deer. Oh, he's a
deer.
deer because red deer. Oh,
red deer.
right, makes sense.
He's a red deer.
Yeah, I'm gonna pretend I didn't say that one out loud or on air. He's a deer. We're in Red Deer. It's also 10:20 in the morning. We're waking up. We're drinking coffee and commentating. Curling is what we're doing. We're gonna pretend that one didn't happen. So back to our game here. PEI got in there, Dad, but didn't quite get enough for second shot.
Yeah, I think they're like possibly 4th shot right now. So although it's in the rings, it could have been a little better. Now it looks like New Brunswick may be trying to angle raise their rock over on the right-hand side in the top 12 foot into the button. Looks like that's the call.
What weight do you play on this?
Well, you always have to play a little more than draw weight because you're contacting a rock on, you're only hitting it like half a rock with draw weight. So you have to throw at least back line on this, I think.
Spoo Porter, the 4th thrower here for Team New Brunswick. He told me where he's from, and I still don't know exactly how to pronounce it.
Set it out there a little bit. This has to curl. Looks like he's got a little more weight than probably desired. He's probably thrown hack weight. Plus he had a little inside out motion on his release. So the rock didn't curl at all. Again, PI is going to play on this side.
I like kind of this side is pretty well sewn up for
Yeah.
PEI. If you could ever tap one of your other two sides.
Yeah, I think I'm not quite sure. I think he's maybe trying to come by and tap his up that he just threw, or the one that was just thrown in the top 12 to advance it in for second shot. But again, it's probably a more difficult shot than he needs to play.
Especially because you got to throw a little bit more weight to move that.
Yep.
And for you to throw more weight, I don't know if you can quite get by both those blue stones.
No.
But nonetheless, this could be one of those ones where we talk and say something's basically impossible, and then they make a great shot. So
Yeah.
Mitchell shoot here.
Trying to make it curl. He's got it.
He's close.
No, he's still hanging out on that. No, they're making it move. No, I don't know if it's going to kick it enough. He's also advanced the blue rock in a little bit, but he still didn't get it in for second shot, so still PI's only laying one.
That's
So-
kind of what we talked about, Dad. He had to throw a little bit more weight. And because he threw more weight, he didn't get by the guard by much, and then
Yeah.
he actually still racked on the outside one.
Yeah, it was a difficult shot. I think the raise on the left-hand side of the sheet was probably easier. It's probably a little more variance in the weight. He could get it in there for second shot and have it buried. But
So
Yep.
sometimes we lose sight of the other side of the sheet. We
Yeah.
get so focused on one side of the sheet that it becomes difficult, but Boo Porter doing the same thing here. He's going to try and angle his in.
Well, at this point in time, that's probably his only option. Because he has the rock at the back of the 8-foot, but
they might be just happy guarding this up.
yeah.
But
if he can force PEI to 1 here, that's probably a very good option in the 5th end of when you're up 3-1. But not sure what the call is here right now. Standing. It's possible he is going to play the guard.
He's just going to play the inside-out way to do it.
Inside-out guard over on the right-hand side of the sheet to stop that PEI raise over there. Problem with that shot is that forces him to play the raise on this side of the sheet, which is probably a better call anyway. So.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing. He's playing the guard over there. Well, that blocks that shot off. So now PEI is forced to play this other side of the sheet.
Which has a little bit more room to work with.
Oh, yeah. You have a little variance in your weight here to pop this in for second shot. One of these guards, whether he elects to push the outside one in or the inside one in. I would prefer to the outside one in, because then the inside one stays as a guard, and you pop it in behind. If you play the inside one and open it up a little bit, you could open it up to the shot rock. So.
You could, however, this is the last rock of the end.
Oh, well, there we go. Guess we should pay attention to the curling game and not talk about baseball.
I guess. Or Waskasiu. I believe it's the deer's fault.
Yeah.
It's definitely the deer's fault.
Blame it on the deer.
Oh. Blame it on the deer, blame it on the beer. Whatever it is. We're not drinking. We should clarify that.
Yeah.
Coffee. So, I got a few options here for Mitchell Shoot. He can tap this one on the outside, tap to the 4-foot, could get us 2. If you're feeling really ambitious, if you ever tapped it back onto the back blue and moved it a foot, you could actually get 3. So this is why we kind of maybe, if you're New Brunswick, maybe take a look at this side, guard this side, because this is basically the only shot PE has to score an easier 2 and maybe even 3. So weight is the most important thing. Well, line as well. This is a good team shot, I guess.
Looks like right now he's in between the two. I don't know if it's going to...
Liam Kelly doing a great job keeping it straight.
Job of holding it straight.
He might actually hit it back onto the blue. Look at this, and he's made it for 3.
Oh, what a shot.
And that's kind of what we talked about for New Brunswick. You leave this side open. That was the only shot he had for 3.
It was an easier shot than the shot that they guarded over on the right-hand side of the sheet. So, great shot by the PEI skip.
And great sweeping there by Liam Keller to keep that straight.
Absolutely. I thought he had over-curled it to hit it back at that angle, but very good sweeping.
We need a replay on that. Seaham, can you somehow rewind live TV and give us a replay? No? I'm just kidding.
She can't hear you.
So, nonetheless, it's a 3 spot there for PEI, and they now take a 4-3 lead after 5 ends of play. New Brunswick will have hammer. Still in not a bad position. They have hammer in the 6th end. Come to the even end. If they score a deuce here, they're still not in bad position at all. But 5-4 for PEI. Quick update around the sheets, because I know you guys are so interested in what's going on. Nova Scotia. On the far side of things, the boys need a win and get some help.
And they are way up over there.
They're way up on Newfoundland. 8-2 after 5 ends of play. The Nova Scotia girls are leading 4-1 over Newfoundland after 5 ends of play. The Ontario men are leading the Quebec men 4-2 after 5 ends of play. Ontario ladies got a 2 to go take the lead over Quebec, 4-3 after 5 ends of play. BC boys get a 3 spot in the 5th and actually now take the lead 5-4 over Alberta boys in a game that's kind of, we think, going to decide first or second place, or sorry, second or third place. And a spot in that bye to that semi. Alberta girls steal another 2 in the 5th end and now lead 6-1 over BC. So girls, Alberta looking to lock up 3rd place. In a really important game, Saskatchewan men leading the Manitoba men 3-1 after 5 ends of play. Saskatchewan ladies lead Manitoba ladies 4-1 after 5 ends of play. Our featured sheet 4-3. And on the far side of things, New Brunswick ladies got a 2 in the 5th end and now lead PEI 5-4. This has been another segment of Around the Rings. Dustin wants me to patent that, sell it to TSN.
Right. So PEI's got a rock on the top of the 12 and coming in again. Looks like New Brunswick threw out a corner guard, and it's quite a ways over there, so I don't know how effective that corner guard is, guarding full 12 foot basically. Probably a little further over than they wanted it. He is going to ignore the rocks in the house and try to utilize that corner guard.
Don't mind that call.
No, I don't mind it.
Corner guard's quite a ways out there.
Yeah, that's quite a ways out and it's a little over too far to be real effective, but here's the lead from New Brunswick. Going to go around. He's played a good game, this Raj.
Kind of doing a little bit of everything. Throwing lead stones in the house.
Calling the game a little bit. Good looking rock if he gets it in here. I think it's going to over curl and be a little light.
See this one not quite with as much handle.
Yeah.
So quite not as much handle, and we're seeing a little bit more curl out to the wings just because throughout the week kind of the slide pass coming towards the middle get used a little bit more. However, when you don't have quite as much handle and you're going towards the wings, you're still going to see quite a bit of pull. And that one there by Raj did over curl.
Yeah. They had ice just about on the center line, so that rock just about went 6 feet going to the wing. But again, that lazy handle with textured rocks is a recipe for tremendous amount of curl.
So Shoot going to try and block things right off for PEI. They got a rock top 4 and top 12.
12 and a really nice
guard.
Nice placed guard on it.
It's about as good as you could start an end if you're PEI.
Yep. Big momentum swing there with that getting 3 in the 5th end. PEI seems to have a little bit of focus and energy here in this end, and they're going to make it tough for New Brunswick to score, I think.
The Alberta ladies have won. The game is over.
The game is over.
Alberta has won 7-1.
After 6 ends, so
the Alberta ladies will finish 3rd. They will take on the 6th place team, and that is still yet to be decided. This afternoon at 2 p.m., the quarterfinal. Meanwhile, New Brunswick makes the peel of the top one. Doesn't get anything in the house.
So PEI will try to replace that guard.
Put that guard back on the center line, and you're happy. If you're PEI, looks like they got another good one here by Liam Kelly.
Sweepers are just lightly dusting it, now trying to make it curl a little bit. They got to get a piece of that center line to pretty good shot. Brunswick asking for the peel again.
Do you like the peel here, or do you like going after the one in the top 12?
Well, I think it's still, I like the call being the earliness in the end here. We're still at second stones, I believe, so I did like the peel.
Peel he got.
Yeah.
Your wish is his command. Pugsley with the peel. PEI content of just guarding this up. Center guard, peel, repeat. Center guard, peel, repeat.
Mm-hmm.
pretty quiet right now. Or people watching, our 81 viewers probably like, it's the first
happened?
First time they haven't talked.
Another well-placed guard by PEI, albeit maybe a little tight to the rings. There's a possibility of a run back here and even a triple if he hits it right.
You would have to hit a little bit high side if they're throwing the out turn. A little bit high side might get all three.
That's right. Sure, there'll be some weight coming here. I was just trying to look at these last stone draw rankings, and I see that they throw out the 2 largest distances all week. So that rule, in normal provincials in Alberta, you throw out your worst one, and in this case, just about gets the triple, but pulls really good shot, peels the guard, gets one of the rocks in the house, and rolls the one out of the 4-foot. But
what a shot by Peasley!
Great shot. But anyways, they throw out the 2 largest distances subtracted to get your total distance. So, you know, that gives you the opportunity, if you've had a couple bad ones, to throw your worst 2 out.
Exactly. Still, those last stone draws going to prove very crucial here at the Canada Winter Games with no tiebreaker scheduled. You could potentially get eliminated based on your last stone draw results.
PI switch gears now that rock has got out of the 4-foot. They're going to try and split the house to force New Brunswick to 1. This rock looks a little heavy coming in.
Whoa, slow down.
It is going to stop, but it's going to be behind the tee line, which could or could not be an advantage to New Brunswick. They could elect to freeze to this right now and try to generate their 2 points.
Could or could not be an advantage, so which one was it?
Well,
we're going to give the politician answer. It could or could not be a great advantage. Depends on what he decides to do, I guess.
Depends what he decides to do.
Is he playing the hit and roll?
No, he's playing the freeze, I believe. So he is trying to freeze to it. So in that case, it would be the advantage to New Brunswick to be that deep. Could generate his 2 points with this shot. Even though if he makes a freeze, PEI will still be shot rock in the 8-foot in front of the tee line on the right-hand side of the sheet.
He is playing the out turn.
He's playing the out turn hit and roll. So
everything we just said, ignore.
He pointed to, I guess that's where he wanted to roll to. He tapped down in front of that rock. So
I like this weight choice, though.
Yep.
They're throwing like a board weight, maybe control. Important to roll to a good spot.
It's going to roll,
Porter
but not far enough.
It's going to roll right to the button. However, just sitting 1, PEI will attempt to hit this, maybe avoid the jam and roll as far as you can away from it.
He indicated that he wants to roll to the left in front of his other rock.
Do you like that, or
no? I would like to see him either hit it on the nose, or roll to the right-hand side. That would be better option for forcing New Brunswick to 1 here.
So Mitchell shoot. Will attempt to hit this. Roll one of the 2 directions. He called to the left.
They're sweeping it to hold it that way, so now
he's up waving his arms and they're not listening to him. He's still yelling at them.
Yeah. And he's going to roll out. Bad communication there.
It's very, very blunt. We could have had better communication would be a gentler way to say it. But
okay.
Yes, it wasn't great communication. Shoot obviously waving his arms, flapping his arms. However, they couldn't hear it. Couldn't hear him. And they roll out on the wide side. Now kind of forcing New Brunswick's hand. They have a chance to freeze one in here and maybe get a 2 out of it.
Yeah, advantage New Brunswick now with that rollout because we got a corner guard, a rock behind the tee line.
So anywhere tee line would be ideal around the tee line. Looks a little heavy, though. This one's running a little bit.
It's coming down to the back.
Coming down to the back one now.
Pretty good looking weight for the freeze, but it's over curling slightly.
He is shot rock. He's going to be about half buried in the 8-foot. Not a terrible result. It's going to force Mitchell Shoot to be a little bit careful on this last one.
Again, deciding if they want to chase it or freeze down to it. I think freezing is a better option here. Anywhere in front of it, it's probably going to force New Brunswick to take a point. See if I can get a time on this one, Joel, and see how the weight is holding up.
Right there with you. I got my clock out too.
Oh, okay.
See who's closer.
Looks heavy to me, but definitely staying on the wrong side of center right now. Looking to try to make it curl, but I think he's got too much weight. I got in the 13s here, 13.5 or so. So I think it should be through. Back line at the best.
So he's going to rub off, rub and roll.
New Brunswick has a shot for 2.
Shot for 2, and they actually have a little bit of backing too.
Yeah, I wouldn't play the backing. I'd throw it right down them into the 4-foot, which is what he's going to do. We'll time this one and see if their weight's a little better. Indicating that it's a little strong.
We're looking around that 14.5 second mark. However,
I got 14.45, should be in the 4-foot.
14.4, that's exactly what we're looking for. Ooh, a lot of 4s there. And perfect draw to the top 4-foot. 14.4 to the top 4 to score 2. And New Brunswick now leading 5-4 after 6 ends of play. Quick look around the sheets, see what's going on.
Looks like the game is over on the sheet
1?
Or
2, or whatever you call it.
Or there's a timeout, but I think it may be over. The score was 8-3 for Nova Scotia over there.
Let's see if it's updated on our stand. It is already updated. So Newfoundland drops to 7-3, and Nova Scotia jumps to 5-5. So they're right now in a playoff spot. However, things are not yet decided. New Brunswick win here, and things could get hairy. Saskatchewan men are also winning their game, so they could go to 5-5, and then we have a whole mess. We could have 4 teams tied for 2 spots. It's exciting. Men's is getting exciting. Absolutely not. So we have Newfoundland winning them. Or sorry, Nova Scotia winning their game. On the other men's games, we have Ontario leading Quebec right now 5-2, and that game would assure first place for Ontario and a bye to the semifinal. I believe they're already guaranteed first place, though, just based on who they've beat. On the Alberta men versus BC, BC actually stole 2 in the 6th.
Big steal there.
So they now lead 7-4 over the Alberta men after 6 ends of play. BC, if with a win there, would also assure a spot in the semifinal. So they're looking pretty strong there. Alberta ladies, we said they won their game 7-1, so they will finish 3rd. The big game, Saskatchewan versus Manitoba, that's going to kind of determine how many tiebreakers we have, is right now 3-1 for Saskatchewan.
It looks like Manitoba may be drawing for 3 here, though. They have 2 rocks in the 8-foot. I think a full 8 are part of the 4, and he gets 3, I believe.
I believe you're right there, Father.
That would be a big score for Manitoba in the 6th end.
Looks pretty good to me.
It's real good. A little, yeah, he's in. Big score of 3 for Manitoba. Put them up 4-3 on Saskatchewan.
It's a very important game for us. And by us, I mean them.
Yep.
Saskatchewan and the ladies' side, they're leading 4-3 in an important game on the ladies' side, just for seeding. New Brunswick, like we said, just got their deuce in the 6th end. They lead 5-4 over PEI. And a couple rocks into this end already. We have a center guard that went up for New Brunswick, and PEI came around. It slid a little bit to the back 4. Now New Brunswick's lead, Raj, going to go around everything. 14-year-old out of Oromoncto, New Brunswick. Oromoncto, am I pronouncing that right?
Oromoncto.
Sweet. Oromoncto.
Ask your mother. She's from New Brunswick.
Yeah. We got a few people from New Brunswick behind us. Oromoncto, am I saying that right? And Russaganis. And Booze from Russaganis. There's no way I'm going to say that right the second time I say it. New Maryland and Lower Cloverdale. So the boys from New Brunswick, a little bit from everywhere. But they come together as Team New Brunswick.
Raj comes a little bit light there, but he's in 12-foot. Not a bad shot. PI's going to ignore that rock and get around this guard and try to stay in front of that other one. Well, preferably top 4 would be ideal here.
Our man Mario's back in the booth.
Good looking line here. If it's not, I think it's a really good shot. Stays in front of the tee line.
Real good shot there by PEI.
Great shot. Top 4.
Dead buried. PEI sitting 2 with hammer here in the 7th end.
New Brunswick going to try to run their top 12-foot rock back onto these rocks in the 4-foot.
Which side of the fence are you on in this strategy called that? Do you like being one up coming home without, or do you like being one down with?
I used to like one down with.
With 5 rock rule now, it's easier to steal.
Yeah, I think it's kind of 6 to 1/2 and doesn't the other anymore now. With
Good shot there by
Pugsley.
Pugsley, sorry.
Pugsley. Great shot. Running back, got the one off the top of the 4-foot. Left his own rock mostly buried behind a rock in the 12-foot, so now PI is forced to play the double. So what's happening on our ladies sheet there?
Not sure.
Well, there was 2 rocks in the 4-foot. I'm not sure who was shot, so we'll have to wait till they mark it up on the scoreboard. Here's the double attempt. Looks like it's over curling a little bit, but it's going to roll into a good spot probably. Yeah, that's a pretty good shot.
Good result there by PEI. However, it does still leave this other PEI stone a little bit exposed at the back of the 4-foot. New Brunswick, is going to come around, try and freeze up to that. So back to that question. You prefer maybe to be one up? Easier to steal with the 5 rock rule if you get a couple guards up? And
yeah, I think it is now. You can get the 2 guards up, but you know what? By the same token, it's pretty easy to score a deuce too with the 5 rock rule. So I honestly think it's
coin flip.
It's a coin flip. You know, it all depends on execution in the last end. So
Pugsley,
he's tapping the rock.
2 good shots there. However, spills to 3rd shot.
Yeah, I think the yellow rock is 2nd stone at the back.
Now Liam Kelly going to try and hit this New Brunswick stone on the side of the 4-foot roll over. I don't even mind rolling as far as you can, maybe over towards that other one.
Yeah.
If you happen to roll right behind the guard, you're going to be kind of behind the button, and it will allow New Brunswick a chance to maybe freeze. So rolling farther the better, I think, on a shot like this. They're kind of jumping back and forth, not sure which
Here
sweeper to
comes-
put on it.
Must be close. He's got not a lot of weight here. I think he undershoe that a bit. Probably was looking for a little more weight.
And he will slide right through the rings and push it to fourth shot. So I believe PEI is sitting one at the back of the 8. You guys don't quite have that view, but I think PEI is sitting shot rock at the back of the 8. New Brunswick the second shot, kind of the side of the 8-foot. PEI third stone at the top of the 12, and then New Brunswick sitting fourth on the side 12-foot.
Over on our ladies sheet, PEI did pick up a deuce on the 6th end, so they go up 6-5.
Getting deuce every even end, that's
Yeah, that's a pretty good recipe to win the game. But
absolutely. Some good finishes here coming in the Canada Winter Games. Mario, you going to have all this sorted for us by the time everything's sorted out? No, no. It's going to be confusing. I think we're going to have to sit down and try and figure it out for you guys. A lot kind of depending on this Manitoba-Saskatchewan boys game, and a lot depending on the one right in front of us as well. So we believe with BC beating Alberta on the men's side that BC and Ontario will get the 2 byes to the semifinal. Is kind of what we have determined, as long as BC hangs on there against Alberta. But everything else is kind of still up in the air. I believe Newfoundland has clinched a spot, though. Newfoundland should be guaranteed at least fourth. That's kind of what we think.
Peasley trying to come in here. Looks like he's a little heavy. They never laid a brush to it all the way down, and it's coming to the back of the 8-foot. He shot rock, I believe, but behind T-line, so not...
It's an aggressive call by Shoot. You see some teams might take on the double to sit 3 in this position, but instead he's going to ignore everything, come around.
Yeah.
So important to have good weight here by Johnston. Get a time for you. Boys are on it early.
Good looking line. Sweeping on and off, so they must be close. Must be really close. I think he's really close to the 4-foot.
14.6 was the time, so he should be right close to T-line. He will slide just behind it. However, about 3/4 buried. You're a little bit more behind it than I am, Dad.
3/4 for sure. But it is behind the T-line, so chance for New Brunswick Skip to lock one in there.
Hairball. Coughing up a lung.
No.
So Peasley just threw this. You think he should be close. Same path he just threw. As long as he's a little bit better weight, could lock one on here.
We'll try and get a time for this one too. Sweeper's not touching it right now, indicating it's a little heavy.
Missed the time. However, it was in the 13-second
so
range.
It's back 8 foot for sure.
Just a little heavy again.
Needed to be, 14, 6, 7, somewhere in that range. But
just being in the 13-second range is going to be heavy every single time on this ice.
Yeah.
So PEI and Johnston just threw it. If you can get in that 14.5 range again, could bury one top 4, and New Brunswick could be in a little bit of trouble here.
boys are on and off it again, which is an indication that the weight is pretty close. Maybe a little light, but light's the miss here.
It did kind of come down on them late. It's going to leave it in a good position, though.
Yeah.
Very good position, especially to get behind that. Sometimes if we cross over it the other way, you're not able to get a second rock in. But by getting just behind that rock top 12, now if New Brunswick gets a good one in there, they could angle it in if they needed to, or they could tap it if they wanted to. So New Brunswick here going to try and lock one around, come around everything, the rock top 12, and lock one. If they could lock one right on the button, you could steal a point, and it could be a big point here for New Brunswick. Weight is the most important thing.
Line looks pretty good.
So Emmanuel Porter, also known as Boo.
I got this one just a hair heavy, but if it right off it, it might be good.
Look at this shot by Boo. Beautiful.
Really good. Really good shot.
Comes right to the button.
And he's holding his head like he's not quite happy with it, but it's a really good shot. The angle, it's impossible to get that rock.
I think he's just disappointed that they didn't go on it late to freeze it right on the back one on the back four. That's being a little bit picky, because to stay on the top of the tee line is important as well.
Yeah,
so
that's I think that's probably better than getting back to it, really.
I guess he's just worried about if PEI ever plays that angle in, that it's easier to get it out.
Yes, yes. Well, they're looking at taking that on, that angle raise.
But a good shot nonetheless. That's basically almost as good as you could do if you're Boo Porter.
Yeah.
But PEI is going to take on this angle. Kind of exactly what Boo was worried about.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they can make this. This is a big shot here in the 7th end.
If you can net this, he'll be laying 2 behind cover. Absolutely very hard for New Brunswick to score.
However, I don't think New Brunswick would be too upset if they give up a 2 here. You'd be 1 down coming home with hammer, and you're still in good position.
Yep. Shooters release the rock there. Looks like they're trying to make it curl a little bit. Might have been a little outside of target here.
By hitting on the outside, he might actually spin it off the back of his own.
I don't think.
Oh,
Oh,
no, just over the top.
Just over the top. Just was a little bit outside on that.
So a big steal point in there right now. There's a few options. I know Peasley right now is looking at the hit to sit 4, and that's very appealing. But a steal of 1 here would be big. So if you could guard up this left side, take your steal of 1, you're happy with it, you're up 2.
Yeah.
They're going to call a timeout. They're going to discuss. I think this is a good decision. Get the coach out there. So they're going to bring out their coach, Brian, Raj's dad. They're going to bring him out here and kind of discuss their best options. It's really important to put this one in a good position. Dad, if you're throwing this one, or if you're the coach, put your coach's hat on. What's the best spot to put this?
I just got to look at the house here.
You can look above you, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking if I'm throwing this rock, I'm throwing a tight guard on the left side. That's got to be about 6 inches off the center line.
Yeah. Right there.
Raj is indicating kind of a corner freeze on the yellow. That would also be a really good option. I just wouldn't call it there, because then if you're heavy, all of a sudden you might leave some kind of shot. So call the tight guard just off center line. If you happen to freeze, corner freeze, that's a good option as well. I wouldn't be throwing anything on this right side. I don't see any way that PEI gets your rock out if you throw something on the left. If you throw something on the right and all of a sudden you leave a double, that's basically the only way PEI is getting your rock out here on the side.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Joel.
You got to know what's important for scoreboard. This is where scoreboard management is so important. I know it's appealing to sit 4, but what is another rock at the back of the house helping you?
Yeah, that's right. Unless he absolutely comes down and freezes to the yellow rock.
They're actually looking at the double to sit 5.
Yeah. While it's tempting, I agree with you, Joel. The
steal of 1 is the most
steal
important.
Steal of 1's
thing.
important. 2 up coming home.
2 up coming home, you play a good end, and you should at least come out with the tie. Like, you should go the extra end, but you play a good end, you win. So.
Yeah. Well, it looks like they're going to play it. They're going to take it on.
Nonetheless, no matter what we say, we're not the ones throwing it. So
that's right. A lot of times there's there's two options to every shot. It's just a matter of what you feel comfortable with, or once again, scoreboard management dictates a lot of shots. But
So
it's probably the
Manuel Porter, Boo Porter, gonna play.
Looks like probably a board
Board weight.
waiter or something, or down normal with the amount of ice they took.
You would hate to pick the guard off too.
No,
He's
He's
close.
throwing it pretty good. Now they're trying to get it to curl. Yeah, he's got a pretty good shot. Except for he dead jammed at the back there, which
He's only sitting 2 anyways.
he's only sitting 2 anyway, so the results,
Yeah.
weren't that great, but
However, I think the most PEI can get is 1, which isn't a bad option either. So
yeah.
if you're looking to steal, you would have played the guard there. I guess if you're happy with the force and you're happy tied up coming home, not a terrible result. It's going to be a tough shot for Shoot. He has to get by
Yeah.
tight and stick around. It will jam on something blue at the back.
Yeah, the key is keep your shooter.
In the
Shooter's
4-foot.
the one that's going to score, so you got to keep your shooter in his 4-foot. So he's got to be careful with his weight selection here. Probably wouldn't throw more than board weight, so you don't. If he hits what he sees, he can't roll very far to stay shot. Rock. So he has to throw, I'd say, board weight.
It's coming up pretty hard. A little bit tight. The
Oh,
boys
let
are
it-
going to work out.
Let it go with a little soft release. I don't know if they're going to hold this.
I don't think they are. It's going to be
No.
on the top guard.
Yeah.
No matter what we said about Porter's last one, they stole one anyways.
Yeah.
Stole 2 now, actually.
Actually, I think they did steal 2, Joel.
2, maybe even 3.
No, I think just 2.
I think they're going to measure for
Oh,
the.
they kicked the one rock that I thought was going to be.
I think they said 2 no matter what.
Oh, okay. So it's a big steal.
So I guess if you wanted to score multiple, that was the shot. So I think
Yeah.
they stole 2.
Yes, they did.
They did.
Puts them up 3 up, coming home.
So good news here for New Brunswick. Up 3, coming home. PEI will have hammer. They'll need to get 3 here in the last end. Nothing's out of touch with the 5-rock rule, so they could still do it. But New Brunswick in a good position to win this game and kind of help their chances in the playoffs going forward. As soon as things end here, we'll kind of give you an update of what playoffs look like. But it's kind of a mess. I think right now New Brunswick's hoping for a win, obviously. And then if they could get some help by Manitoba winning, I think Manitoba and New Brunswick would be the 2 teams in the playoffs, is the way we see it.
And over on that sheet, it's Saskatchewan got 1 and 7, so it's a tie game. Saskatchewan, Manitoba in the men's division.
So that will come coming home, Manitoba with hammer. But the way we see it, I think if New Brunswick wins and Manitoba wins, because New Brunswick beat Nova Scotia, which would be the other team tied with them, I think New Brunswick would be the 6th place team in the playoffs.
All the New Brunswick fans are hoping you're right, Joel.
But this is just me talking as a commentator. This is not me being an official, just the way I looked at it. I believe New Brunswick's beaten both Saskatchewan and Nova Scotia. Their only loss coming to Manitoba within those teams. So I believe they would get the 6th place because of head-to-head would be the first tiebreaker. So tense times here.
Yeah.
New Brunswick obviously has to do their part. They have to still win this game.
New Brunswick elected to throw their first rock in the house.
That's exactly where it should be.
If you're going to throw it in the house, that's the best spot for sure. PEI decided to throw to corner guard, which is the right call. Made a real good shot. We're definitely going to have some rocks in play here.
So coming home,
I'm not sure about this call. I'm not sure what he's calling. Oh, he's
tick.
He's playing the tick on the corner guard.
this is actually where we called, it's kind of the mixed doubles tick we've seen more and
Yeah.
more. The tick on the corner guard, you try and tick it actually into the house or somewhere over in this area. In the house is preferable because then you could actually hit it with your next shot. Unlike mixed
Okay.
doubles where you can't hit until you're 5th stone or something like that.
Yes.
If you push this into the rings and roll your shooter off into the boards, it's a really good option. So it's kind of a new way that we've seen these kids this week play this corner guard tick.
They're going to push it into the rings for sure.
Might actually push it through
But
unless
it's
they
got-
push it into their
got
own.
it right onto the shot rock.
Not ideal because
Not
now you've
ideal.
pushed it
Yeah.
their own rock behind the tee line. You have pushed into the ring so you can eliminate that stone, but pushing your own rock behind the tee line isn't always a good option either.
And they still left the corner guard out. So, yeah, not the best results there.
That's for sure. I feel like I've been drinking too much coffee. I can't sit still anymore. This week, my diet is pepperoni sticks, Cliff Bars, and coffee. I'll let you know how the weight changes and see if actually there's no way this diet is a good diet.
Sounds really good. Really healthy.
Real healthy.
This rock may be coming into the rings, which is not a good option. Oh, no, it's just stopping. So,
Colin knew exactly what he was doing, leaving it a bit short.
New Brunswick job right now is just to eliminate yellow stones, which they are going to do here right now. It's
So you got to be careful on this. If you happen to throw it a little tight and rack on the guard, everything goes back.
yeah. See how he throws it. It's coming
Or
right,
is this the 6th rock?
coming right down center line. No, this would be. Well, it is a little tight. They're trying to hold it straight, and they've got the guard for sure.
You've got the guard, and it will go back.
Yeah.
Worst case Ontario scenario.
Scenario. Over in the Alberta BC men's game, Alberta got 1-7. I believe BC is still up 1 with Hammer.
The Alberta boys up
Yeah,
2.
Up 2 with
Up
Hammer.
2 with Hammer.
Yeah. Okay, PEI's got a little something going here. Corner guard, 1 in the 8-foot. Drawing. Got to have at least one miss here from New Brunswick to have a 3 come into play, but anything can happen. Second, Liam Kelly throwing out another guard.
Good option here, eh?
Yeah.
Guard your guard, plus you guard your run the house.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
This is where you need a miss.
Yeah. You're going to play the slash double.
So the BC men have won, so that'll guarantee them a spot in the semifinal. BC has beaten Alberta, so Alberta will drop to 7-3. They will drop to 7-3 and finish 4th place because they lost actually the game to Newfoundland and Labrador. So that'll move BC and Ontario into the semifinal. Alberta will drop to 5th. Newfoundland will jump up to 3rd. And everything else is slowly winding down and getting tense here at the Canada Winter Games.
On our sheet, Pugsley makes the peel of the long guard. PI's replacing it. Very good shot.
Yep, doing exactly what you're supposed to do if you're PEI. This is the chance. This is how you get 3, but now you need a miss. At what point, Dad, do you go around the corner or maybe freeze to this back one on the back 8-foot?
Well, I'd wait to probably a third's last rock. You'd still have 3 to come. So
So they're just going to go for the straight peel here. Peasley looking for the peel. Important just to eliminate PEI stones.
he's got a lot of weight here. Probably about a 6-second peel.
That was quite the extension.
Yeah.
He's
Makes
got the
it
peel and he rolls off.
We have a final over on the Saskatchewan-Manitoba women's game. Saskatchewan pulls off the win there with a deuce and 8 to win 6-5 over Manitoba.
So we'll see how that influences things as well. Keep you updated as we go through here. The last game's finishing up. See how that affects things. So Saskatchewan with a win. And Nova Scotia girls also with a win. So they will both be 6-4. New Brunswick ladies looking for a win to also go to 6-4. Like I said, the girls is mostly for seeding late in this draw. The 6 top teams have already been confirmed based on where they settle out is the thing going forward here.
PEI is elected, I think, to play down to this backstone by the looks of the weight coming here. A lot of hand singles going on by the PEI skip. So and he's got a really nice roll. Really nice roll. So PEI laying 2, looking to score 3 in the 8th end to tie this game up. Need one mistake here still by New Brunswick. Looks like they're going to play the slash double, which is a really good call.
Because you get the guard off and you might get one in the house.
That's right. If you ever throw the other turn and just tick the guard and miss everything in the house, then a 3 comes into play. So this is a really good call.
Very mature call, you would say. Some teams might chase that one in the house.
Exactly.
So mature call here by New Brunswick. The goal would be to get the guard off, get one in the house. Even if you jammed it in the house and rolled off, you're going to have an open shot on your last ones.
Yeah.
You like to see calls like this at this age. A lot going on here at the end.
Here it comes, lots of weight again. You got to hold it on the outside here to get one in the house.
Peasley throws these high, hard ones good. Oh, no.
No, worst case scenario, doesn't get anything in the house, leaves the guard up. So 3 is definitely in play here.
So Shoot wants to guard. Johnston doesn't seem too convinced. Shoot wants to guard, and Johnston's sitting there with his hand on his chin, not convinced.
I can see why he wants to guard. The double would be there for New Brunswick. There's 2 rocks to come, so.
Do you know what I actually don't mind here, Dad, is if you play like a split, you push that in behind and you roll as far as you can, so there's no double.
Yeah, that would be a good shot as well. Because that's what he's worried about. He's worried about New Brunswick making the double.
And then all of a sudden your 3 spot's gone.
Yeah. So he's going to,
He's calling the guard.
Calling the guard, yep.
Whether Johnston likes it or not, Shoot is the skip, and he's making that call.
He was adamant about it, so. Down to the last couple shots over in that Saskatchewan-Manitoba game. Saskatchewan has nothing going in the 8th end. Going to throw a rock into the house and
hope for a flash.
Hope for a flash, or Manitoba would have to.
Or a rollout, I guess.
Or roll out and then force the extra in.
We've actually seen that already this week, Dad. There was a game where a team rolled out and had to go an extra end when they were tied up. Saskatchewan's going to put their rock in, and PEI is going to put their guard up.
And again, the guard possibly a little longer. Maybe allow the slash in here again with the New Brunswick rock coming in now. That's what the call is. Gotta hit it on the high side to make contact with the yellow stone in the house.
So leaving the center guard up could be a worry here. However, eliminating one of these PEI stones, handshakes? Not quite.
Not quite. There'll be 2 rocks coming unless he makes a double here. Angle raise double. Boom. Oh, he didn't get either.
This game is not over.
This game is not over, folks. Hold on.
Calling a timeout.
Yeah.
Shoot's going to be worried about a double being on those back two because Bo has pushed that into kind of a double position.
And the men's game is over on the Saskatchewan Manitoba. Manitoba hitting stuck for the last rock to win that game 5-4 over Saskatchewan.
Goodness. So things are ending. We'll let you know how that works out. Ontario men won their game as well, so they'll finish 9-1 and they'll finish in first place. BC, like we said, beat Alberta, so they'll finish 9-1. They'll finish second after their loss to Ontario. Nova Scotia men beat Newfoundland men to give themselves a chance here. And in our game,
it's up in the air yet.
Up in the air.
On our lady sheet, New Brunswick has a hit to stick for 2 to force an extra end over there on sheet 11. New Brunswick hitting to lie 2.
If I'm interpreting this right, and New Brunswick win and they're in because they beat Nova Scotia, so New Brunswick win, they're in. New Brunswick loss, and Nova Scotia would be the last place team in the playoffs.
New Brunswick missed their hit for 2, and PEI wins the ladies' game over there on sheet 11.
Oh, a little bit of adrenaline maybe running through Shoot right now because this is heavy.
He's got to make contact with one of his stones to slow it down. Keep 3 in the house. Oh.
And it rolls out.
Rolls out. Contact here with a yellow stone will end this game. Unfortunate there.
For Shoot, he's played such a great game.
He's played a great game, and just probably a little adrenaline going there and threw it a little hard.
Any Yellowstone eliminated here, and New Brunswick will go to the playoffs, and Nova Scotia would be eliminated.
So farewell to Nova Scotia. Whoops.
New Brunswick with a win would finish 6th place, and they would take on Newfoundland.
Rock's coming down, looking good. Sweepers are
just cleaning it.
Cleaning it, and he's got contact, and
that's the game.
That'll do it.
So that's a win by New Brunswick. They will go to the playoff round. They will finish 5-5. And I believe that they will get the playoff spot based on their head-to-head victory over Nova Scotia. Believe is how that's going to end up. We also want to give a big shout-out to all the fans back in New Brunswick, especially Great Grammy, who's 93 years of age from Team Porter. A big shout-out to everybody there back home. The boys have done good. Believe they've moved into the 6th position. I want to make sure that's confirmed before I say anything, though. They did have the head-to-head win against Nova Scotia. However, Nova Scotia has the better draw to the button, so it depends what they use first.
It's usually head-to-head first.
Usually head-to-head first. I'm 90% sure that it should be New Brunswick in the playoffs.
We'll try to update you before we go off the air, but I don't know if that's going to happen. It's probably going to take some calculations going forward.
Our man Mario Randa gave us kind of a heads up. We're pretty sure that New Brunswick will be in the playoffs after that win. We just got to get confirmation.
In the event, that completes all the games on this morning's draw. Really good crowd in hand here today, and that finishes up the round robin. So we'll have playoffs coming at you this afternoon
at 2. So my dad will be back in the booth with me at 2 p.m. We don't know exactly which game we'll be doing, Dad, because of everything how it can shake out. So BC and Ontario will get the bye to the semifinals. BC and Ontario will play tonight at 7 p.m. 3, as we believe, we should see Newfoundland playing New Brunswick in the one quarterfinal, with Alberta playing Manitoba in the other quarterfinal. On the women's side of things, we'll just bring it up here quickly. I believe on that side we have
There we go.
Ontario and Manitoba will get the byes to the semifinal. And Alberta taking on New Brunswick in the one quarterfinal. And Nova Scotia taking on Saskatchewan in the other quarterfinal. So one of our games tonight will be either Alberta versus New Brunswick women's, Nova Scotia versus Saskatchewan women's, Newfoundland versus what we believe is New Brunswick in a men's, or Alberta versus Manitoba in men's.
So some more exciting action coming at you this afternoon from the Canada Winter Games in Red Deer.
And if you're in Red Deer, come down to the rink, because now that we've started playoffs, it's going to be exciting. Thank you so much, Dad, for joining me in the booth. Once again, thank you to all our volunteers. Thank you to our awesome camera girl, Sahim Akkad. Thank you to everybody. We'll see you later at 2 p.m. And hopefully, we think, Newfoundland versus New Brunswick. Have a great day, everybody.